Hi, Katie. It's Catherine's mom again, and we're here with Ghosts of Tupelo Landing, Chapter 9. This one is called A Plan of Attack. I hope you are enjoying this book as much as I have enjoyed reading this book. So we'll go on. We'll tell the Colonel and Miss Lana about the ghost straight out and professional, I told Dale that evening. Me, Dale, and Queen Elizabeth had kicked back in my flat, which some folks mistake for a closed-in side porch with a bathroom stuck on the end. Miss Lana and the Colonel settled in the living room. Our home, which takes up the back half of the cafe building, overlooks Miss Lana's gardens and the creek. The cafe, in the front half of the building, overlooks the parking lot and the highway. Like me, the Colonel and Miss Lana each have their own living space across the living room from my flat. The Colonel keeps his quarters near the kitchen, spit and polish neat. I crossed to my Salvation Army desk and opened up my top drawer. It sticks. Ghost news is like Band-Aid removal, I said. I jammed my hand all the way into the back and grabbed a crumpled clue pad just in case. It's best to do it quick. I peeled into the living room. Miss Lana sat in her rocker reading Historic Hollywood magazine. The Colonel sat at a card table leafing through a law book. "Are they kissing?" Dale whispered. "Because I don't want to see that." "No," I said, "and they never will." I hated to admit it, but since the return of the Colonel's memory, the possibility of romance had occurred to me too, and maybe to him. Last week, he bought Miss Lana a scraggly handful of goldenrod, a pale root dangling from the stem. "Sorry," he'd said, "I'm rusty." She looked like Skeeter's little sister just bit her. Then she laughed and put it in a pale blue mason jar, root and all. I mentioned it to her that night in her suite as she brushed out her Jean Harlow wig. "I don't mean to sound negative, but the Colonel bringing you flowers gives me the dry heaves. Can you make him stop?" "He's just remembering our long-ago engagement, sugar," she said. "It's history. But as his amnesia lifts, his truth expands. That shifts my truth a little too, and yours too, apparently. Sometime Miss Lana talks like a fog bank. I do the best I can." "This new truth doesn't suit me," I said. She shook Jean Harlow. "The truth is like spandex, sugar. It may not look like a good fit at first, but if you ease into it and wiggle around, it winds up fitting like your skin. Hand me the comb," she said. Jean snarled. Now I looked at Dale. If they can handle spandex, I'm pretty sure they can handle a ghost. "Remember," I told him, "act professional." We stepped into the living room, Queen Elizabeth ticking along behind, and settled on Miss Lana's old curlicue couch. She looked up from her magazine. "Pause," she said. Queen Elizabeth hopped off the couch and stretched out at Dale's feet. "Good evening," I said, very professional. The Colonel looked up from his law book. "Nice weather if you're a duck," I continued. "But Thess says the rain will clear out by morning." "Excellent," he said, and smiled. Miss Lana turned a page in her magazine. "Homework all done?" "It's Friday," I reminded her. "We prefer our homework to age over the weekend, making it tender. We're here on business. It's about the inn." She closed her magazine. "Wonderful. I've been considering your interview. A brilliant idea. Such creative children. Ghost stories can be very lucrative. That means worth a lot of money." The lamplight made her hair glow coppery. "We'll need a sweet ghost. A poster ghost, really. Something amusing for guests. Have you composed your interview questions?" "The questions aren't due for weeks," I said. "The thing is, Miss Lana—" "I'd gladly give them a look, and when you're ready," she said, and winked. "Or help you get started." The Colonel cleared his throat. "Not that we'd cheat," she added, But since I'll build my PR campaign around your interview, we want a good foundation. We might even bring in a ghost investigator. My treat. The Colonel snorted. Thanks, I said. I'm glad you're excited, because we've got a situation. Snacks? Dale asked, jumping up. Dale is a stress eater. The Colonel turned a page. Pantry, he said without looking over. Second shelf. Dale padded past Miss Lana's suite into the kitchen. Dale and me bumped into the entity in question this afternoon, I continued. She comes across kind of cold. More like the anti-poster ghost. Dale ambled back in with a bag of coconut macaroons and settled beside me. Miss Lana blinked slowly. What could I possibly do with a cold ghost? Rhetorical, I whispered to Dale. Too late. You could try and catch and release, but you'd meet a live trap, he said. A live trap? The Colonel looked up from his book. That's what Lavender does when possums come after Mama's chickens at night, Dale continued. Of course, he added, we'd have to consider bait. A hush fell over the room. The Colonel closed his book. You actually believe there's a ghost in the inn? Why? Did you see something? Not exactly, I said, unless you count the piano slamming shut on its own. I'd count that, Dale said. And I did see a girl in a window, but she'd evaporated by the time we got there, unless she was a shadow. But we heard her, I added, keeping my eyes on the Colonel. She ran down the stairs, including the ones that aren't there, and she laughed. Alternative explanations, he said. The Colonel's big on alternative explanations. It's one of the things I like about him. The first time we heard her, I thought it might have been Harm Crenshaw, I said, but today it couldn't have been. Well, Dale said, helping himself to another cookie, we did see a silver flash at the edge of the meadow, and Harm's bike is silver. It couldn't have been him, I said again. The footsteps ran straight at us, and those footsteps were empty. And it got cold, a funny cold, without edges. Like a bite without teeth, Dale added. Miss Lana and the Colonel exchanged looks. The Colonel tapped his long fingers against his law book. I'll look into it first thing in the morning, soldier. You have my word. Thank you for your report. I relaxed. The Colonel's word is gold. Maybe Dale and me can look with you, sir, I said, and Dale choked, sending a soft spray of crumbs across the settee, or couch. Tomorrow's Saturday, and this is our case, I said, staring at Dale, and half our history grade. I guess so, he mumbled. We just need a good plan of attack. The Colonel nodded. I'd appreciate the reinforcements. Why don't you two come over after you help with the breakfast rush? He rose. Cot or couch, son? Couch, Dale said, heading for the linen closet. Dale stays here so much lately, Miss Lana gave him his own sheets. I snatched Miss Lana's rainbow row pillows from the couch and tossed them into a chair. Ghost patrol with the Colonel. We'd have our ghosts sorted out in no time. And that's the end of chapter 9.